We've got the Honda Civic Hatchback.
Formerly the best-selling passenger car in Canada.
Got it in sport mode. Here we go. You know what I miss?
What's that?
Manual transmission. We've got the CVT.
Yeah, so we're going to show you pictures of this black one and also the blue one we had 2 years ago with the manual. That was a little bit more fun and a little bit more colorful. What's under the hood of this thing, Andrea?
There are two powertrain options. The base engine is a 2-liter 4-cylinder with 158 horsepower and 138 pound-feet of torque. There's also a 1.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder with 180 horsepower and 177 pound-feet of torque. This is a front-wheel drive only model.
All trims come standard with a continuously variable transmission. A 6-speed manual transmission is available on select trims. I'll tell you why it's not the best-selling car in just a moment, but right now we're going to get into what do you get with the Honda Civic Hatchback.
The base trim comes with a 7-inch driver display and a 7-inch touchscreen, wired Apple Carplay and Android Auto, an 8-speaker audio system, 6-way manual driver's seat, a 4-way manual passenger seat, cloth upholstery, heated front seats, Honda sensing technology, and blind spot monitoring. In the US, there are a few features that are not standard, including heated front seats and blind spot monitoring.
Drive modes include Sport, Normal, Eco, and what else, Andrea?
You gotta put it in S for subscribe.
Oh, I screwed it up. Keep going.
You can hit those, you can hit the notification bell. You'll be notified when all our reviews drop, and then you can watch them.
It's not like we haven't done this before.
That was terrible.
And also make sure to follow along on Instagram. No, I screwed it up. And we do this, the couple car review twice a week. The first one drops on Wednesday.
We put another one out on Saturday.
So make sure you like and subscribe, but also follow along on Instagram. It's Motormouth_Andrea to see what's going on behind the scenes. For me, it's Motormouth_Auto, and the links are below the like button.
This video is brought to you by Car Cost Canada. Get the dealer's cost, list of rebates, plus discounted interest rates. Use the promo code Motormouth to become an expert member and get extra searches. The link is in the description below.
Quick update. I think it was 20 or 21 years, the Honda Civic was the best-selling passenger car, keep that in mind, in Canada. And just last year, they gave up that mantle to Hyundai with the Elantra. And that car starts at just over $20,000.
Yeah.
And I think that and supply issues is the reason why this isn't king any longer.
For sure, pricing is a big issue in Canada with that. Better pricing in the US, more competitive. But I do like the look of this better than the Hyundai myself. You know, some of you might disagree with me. I think a hatchback just looks really cool. It's got a cool vibe to it. I like it in this black color. It looks really sharp. I know Zach would never get black because it's too difficult to keep clean.
Yeah,
but
it looks good for 30 minutes and then the dust starts collecting on it.
So true.
But you know what? At its core, what this car is a very competent commuter car and actually a little bit of fun as well because the suspension, Honda does a great job with the suspension. Yeah. How are you enjoying it over there?
I like it a lot. You know, it just feels really planted. I find that the power is sufficient with this 1.5-liter turbocharged engine. The steering feels a little bit heavier. Suspension feels good. Overall, I think that Honda has done such a great job with the driving dynamics of this hatchback.
Okay, one thing is, if you're somebody that wants to buy a Honda Civic and keep it long-term and not worry about anything, you buy the 2-liter base engine. That is a proven, reliable, bulletproof engine. The 1.5 turbo that we have here has had some initial teething pains. Hopefully, Honda has rectified that because they know how to make 4-cylinder engines beautifully. But if you're wanting the power, this is the one you're going to have to get.
It's nimble, it has a sporty feel to it, it's super easy to maneuver in the city, breeze to parallel park. I like a lot about this hatchback. It really ticks many boxes for me, and the fact that there's a manual transmission offering, which I think Honda does really well, that 6-speed manual. I like it.
All right, you talked about the outside. We're not going to get too much into it, but I think the black looks really good. So you've got black everywhere, including the wheels. It's nothing I would buy because I just can't stand cleaning a black car. We've had too many black cars. I'm done with all of that. So what do you get with this one?
This comes standard with LED headlights, LED taillights, standard 16-inch wheels, a temporary spare tire, a rear wiper. How about that?
Good choice.
In the US, the EXL model has 17-inch wheels, but all other trims have 18-inch wheels.
So it was a couple of years ago when this latest Civic was introduced, and boy, when we got this Civic, we were like, wow, what an interior. It's so popular, they're using it for almost all their new models except the new Honda Pilot. It's copy and paste in the new HR-V and the CR-V. You know what? It's a winning formula because it's got the traditional layout, instrument cluster, radio, but some cool features like the hidden vents behind this mesh.
Yeah, Honda really wanted to make this interior uncluttered, simple, elegant, sophisticated. Honda has used soft touch materials in the cabin and also materials that offer some smudge proof.
Okay, I don't understand that. I do get it in the center console. This looks pretty good, but they have piano black across the center and they have the cheap hard shiny plastic in the doors, so it's still here.
It's still here, but I don't know, smudge it, Zach. Is it smudging? I don't see any smudging, Zach. I think that's the thing. There is no smudging on this.
Yeah,
Take a look, Zach.
Yeah, but you know what it is? It's dust.
Yeah, but I said smudge.
I see dust.
We went through all of the key standard features and what you get on the base model. You know, you could go up just one from the base model to the Sport. In Canada, there's a Sport B, and let me tell you what that is. They've eliminated blind spot.
Base? Oh, I was going to say base.
They eliminated blind spot monitoring on that one trim. However, the Sport trim, it goes back on. Blind spot monitoring is standard on all of the other trims.
It's a head scratcher why they would eliminate it for just one trim.
I don't know. It's less money.
Yeah.
But I always think that more people want blind spot monitoring. Am I wrong there?
Is that their real price point car, hun? They shave off $500 and they give you without blind spot monitoring? Here's an idea, Honda. Shave off thousands of dollars. They'll sell more of these.
Okay, so moving up one from the base model, it adds the moonroof and leatherette and cloth upholstery, a combination there, as well as the heated steering wheel. That might be enough for you. The issue I have is that all of the good features are on the top trim.
And that gets spendy, my friends. That's the one we're in here. And it's up to $37,000 Canadian for a Honda Civic. I never thought with freight and PDI and taxes, you're going to be well over $40,000 for a Honda Civic. Like, what happened to the everyman, every person commuter car? This is now moving way up. Here's the thing, we have a problem with pricing.
Well, let's not get too much into that, Zach, because that's coming up in our hot topic. So stick around for that. So this top trim gets you the larger 9-inch touchscreen with navigation, wireless Apple Carplay, and Android Auto. You also get the 10.2-inch digital driver display, a power driver's seat, power passenger seat.
But no height adjustment over here.
No, you get the Bose sound system and heated rear seats.
In the United States, the EXL model adds leather-trimmed upholstery, heated front seats, a moonroof, and a power driver's seat. The top trim adds similar features to the Canadian top trim, except there's no heated steering wheel or heated rear seats available on any trim in the United States.
But where this thing really does shine is in space. It's got a big back seat, and you can see just how much legroom there is. There's pretty good headroom, and it's fairly comfortable.
Comparing the Civic hatchback to some of its competitors like the Corolla hatchback and the Volkswagen GTI, it offers great front row legroom at 42.3 inches, which is about the same as the Corolla but an inch more than the GTI. Second row legroom is excellent at 37.4 inches, offering 7.5 inches more legroom than the Corolla and 2.4 inches more than the GTI.
And then when you lift the hatch, one of the hallmarks of the Civic has been a big trunk, and with the hatch, it's enormous. You can see the cargo cover slides from one side to the other. That's reversible, by the way, and underneath the floor is a temporary spare tire.
Cargo space behind the second row at 24.5 cubic feet beats out these two competitors.
Let's get into it. Good questions.
Time now for questions, coffee, and cars.
Your questions from Instagram.
GTI any day, my favorite car I owned. You know, well, the GTI is a favorite of ours too.
Did you put that in there? Because in the last video we did, 2 years ago when we drove the blue one that you've been seeing, I just kept saying, for this price, just buy a GTI. And I'm still in that camp, Andrea.
Yeah,
in fact, we might be buying a GTI.
Actually, we might be in that nice yellow color. We hear there's a 40th anniversary edition coming out. But enough about the GTI. We're reviewing the Civic Hatchback. The GTI is more expensive than this. But it has more power. It has a manual transmission on all trims, which isn't the case with this hatchback. It's on select trims for the Civic. And also, if you don't want a manual, you can get the 7-speed dual clutch transmission on the GTI.
This one you get a CVT. Yeah, but Andrea, I want to get back to it's more expensive. It isn't more expensive. Like the base model of this hatch is cheaper.
Yes.
But this top trim, you could get a really nicely equipped GTI.
Still more expensive,
Really?
almost a couple $1,000s more, but you're getting more. I mean, you are getting more power, aren't you? The GTI is a pretty special vehicle.
Yeah, I just disagree with that. I'm just talking myself into it. It's cheaper.
Also, I just want to say this as well. Reliability for some people is a huge factor. And they put it #1 on their list, and they just don't feel comfortable going with a Volkswagen. They would rather go with a Honda.
And your CVT.
How does the Civic Hatchback compare to the Toyota Corolla Hatchback? You can say it's cheaper now.
Yeah, oh, it's cheaper. Okay, so the nice thing is...
The Corolla is cheaper.
The Corolla is cheaper. The nice thing is when Corolla was updated, the last generation, they went from a torsion beam rear suspension to an independent rear suspension. So it's gone from being a car that was just a commuter car to actually, when you throw it in the corners, you can have some fun with it. One thing is it's cheaper. The other thing is it's smaller. You'll notice that. And less power. So that's something you have to consider.
Yeah, if you're looking for more rear leg room, you're going to find that this Civic is much better.
There's no parallel to this in the compact class. This has the most space in the back seat.
But what you can get with the Corolla hatchback is the top trim for around $30,000.
I know.
Which is a pretty amazing price point. It does not come with a manual transmission anymore.
Yeah.
Toyota eliminated
Oh, no, it does.
that.
If you get the GR Corolla.
Yes.
So you can get the hatchback
Sure.
with a manual and a turbo 3-cylinder. So it can be done.
If you want. No thanks, I'll take the Mazda 3 Turbo. You guys are just killing it. Hatchback, a lot nicer and more premium than this.
Even smaller than the Corolla in the back. I mean, we talk about that car all the time because it is an option to have, you know, an all-wheel drive, turbocharged, compact hatchback.
Yeah.
That all adds up to be fun, but the space is just not there.
And headroom in the rear seat. I think for driving dynamics, for sure, I am with you. The Mazda 3 is terrific. But if you need space, and say this is a second vehicle and you've got to put a car seat back there, you're going to find this to be much more comfortable.
Now, you can get a manual transmission, but you're not getting the turbo matched with the manual like you get with this car. And now it's time for our hot topic. What's this one, Andrea?
Wow, a top trim Civic pushing close to $40,000? Times have changed.
Well, it kind of went off a little bit earlier on the pricing, and it's a problem with Honda, especially north of the border. The prices have gone up, up, up. The base model of the regular sedan is right around $26,000. This top hatchback we're in is $37,000 plus tax, all that. You're a $40,000+ Honda Civic. I never thought I'd ever see that. I remember it wasn't that long ago that you could get a base model Civic for like 17 grand.
Yeah, but times have changed, that's for sure. So is it really worth to get the hatchback? Let's just compare it to the Civic and even the Civic Si. Still $2,000 cheaper to get the sedan, either of those models. Of course, the Civic Si comes standard with a manual transmission. There's no CVT offering. The problem that I have with this hatchback is some of the trims just don't make sense to me. If I want the manual transmission in Canada,
Which I want.
Yeah, it's either the base trim or the top trim. And the top trim has all the features, but do I really want to spend just over $37,000 for this top trim for a Civic hatchback?
Just get a GTI.
Oh my gosh, this is like deja vu again from the other Civic hatchback that we did. Here's the other thing that you might find interesting. The Honda HR-V pricing is very close to this. Now, keep in mind you only get the 2-liter 4-cylinder. It is a bigger vehicle, so maybe not be as fun and nimble, but my goodness, how practical is that? In the US, the HRV is the same. It's still such a great deal to get the HRV over this.
All right, so the thing about the HRV is it's based on the Civic platform now, and they use the base engine that's in this, the 2-liter, which is a great engine. But because that vehicle's bigger, it just zaps any life out of it. We have a 2-liter base model Civic. It's perfectly fine for most people. If your premium is having sporty fun, then you're going to want the turbo. So check out the difference in fuel economy between the CVT and the manual in our vital stats.
Let's start with pricing. We'll do Canada first and then move on to the US. The base trim starts at just over $30,000, and the top sport touring trim that we're test driving is just over $37,000. In the US, the base model starts at just over $24,500, and the top trim is just over $31,000.
Here's the fuel economy for the base CVT. 8 liters per 100 kilometers city, 6.2 on the highway. That's 29 miles per gallon city, 37 miles per gallon highway. For the manual transmission, it's 9.1 liters per 100 kilometers city, 6.6 on the highway. That's 26 miles per gallon city, 36 miles per gallon highway. The warranty is 3 years with 60,000 kilometers or 36,000 miles. So you're itching to buy a hatchback and you want something small and fun. What else can you buy?
For your consideration, 4 vehicles for you to consider.
Up first is the Toyota Corolla hatchback with a 2-liter 4-cylinder, 168 horsepower, and a starting price just under $23,500.
The Mazda 3 Sport with a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder, 191 horsepower, and a starting price of $25,500.
The Volkswagen GTI with a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, 241 horsepower, and a starting price just under $32,500.
The new Subaru Impreza with a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, 152 horsepower, and a starting price of just over $23,000.
So there are 4 hatchbacks for you to consider.
Lightning round, 2 things we like, 2 things we'd like to see improved.
Well, I like how comfortable this is and how nimble it is.
It's a well-designed car, very well thought out.
What I'd like to see is the manual transmission offered on all trims of the hatchback.
They're not going to do it, but I'd like them to sharpen their pencil on the price.
The Civic hatchback is still a great car, just a little bit pricey.
Yeah, it's not the everyman car anymore.
This video is brought to you by Car Cost Canada. Get the dealer's cost, list of rebates, plus discounted interest rates. Use the promo code Motormouth to become an expert member and get extra searches. The link is in the description below.